All right, Todd, thank you. We'll get to some of the day's top headlines in just a bit, but we're going to start this half hour a little bit differently. Really important topic here.
Right. There are certain conversations a lot of Mainers feel are off limits, and one of them happens to be about finances.
Yeah, Mainers are known for being self-made, thrifty. We don't ask people for help, but as we get a little bit older, and Maine does have the oldest population in the country, we're running into kind of a survival problem, if you will. So News Center Maine's Chloe Thibault is joining us now with a deeper look at this topic. Hey, Chloe.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, so the Maine Council on Aging estimates more than a third of Mainers over 65 years old live on Social Security benefits alone without any retirement savings. The problem is the average person can't survive on Social Security. And if you do the math, that's around 102,000 Mainers trying to do just that.
Oh, there it is. There's your driveway.
Oh my gosh.
For brother and sister Bill Miller and Ann Heinig, it's moments like this
Older brother.
that matter, finding memories in old family photos.
Our first property tax bill here was $400. And I thought that was obscene.
The siblings both live on the water in Harpswell, with views that would make a dent in almost anyone's wallet these days. Inheriting property from their parents and grandparents has secured their lives on the coast, but it hasn't protected them from people with more money moving into the area and driving up property taxes.
When I first looked at retirement, I looked at our property tax bill and I thought, my gosh, that's a third of my pension.
Bill and his wife Susan have been able to retire after careful planning, but Ann's situation is a bit different. She's still working at 69 years old.
It's health insurance primarily because my husband's an insulin-dependent diabetic. He's on the pump and has been for a considerable period of time.
Ann says without her health insurance, that cost would be upwards of $20,000 a year or $1,600 a month. The reason she has to work. But for people who can't work,
We live in the richest country in the world, and people who aren't in a situation like mine are either making a choice of going bankrupt or dying.
Hi, how is everybody? You've got company.
the cost of retirement affects single people too,
Who wants some corn?
like Linda Doherty in Orono.
When I retired from work full-time, I knew that I would still have to work part-time.
She decided to take up fun seasonal jobs, working at a greenhouse in Eddington and serving beer at Bangor waterfront concerts for extra cash.
What I get is under $20,000 a year for Social Security. You don't get to do repairs on the house. You don't get to go anywhere. You don't get to eat out. You don't get to, splurge on anything. It's the bare bones.
Linda has kids in Maine, but to her, relying on them is not something you do.
They both have offered to take me in at any point in time, which is wonderful, but I don't want to be their problem.
Do you like that sense of independence?
Oh yeah. I don't want to be a burden to my kids.
That's David, and then Vicky. Vicky's 3 children.
Carolyn Silvius of Portland, almost 75 years old, understands that sentiment. She was evicted in 2014.
I could not afford a place to live. Everything that I looked at or looked into was just beyond anything I had. Even with the $84 that general assistance would have provided me, I was still a couple of $100 a month short.
Carolyn ended up at a women's homeless shelter, and it took nearly a year before she found subsidized housing.
As the oldest state in the nation, Maine has a disproportionate number of seniors. And seniors are living longer, and that means that their retirement security has increasingly been called into question.
Senator Susan Collins sits on the Senate Special Committee on Aging.
And I think we generally look at the median age of retirement around 65. Do you think that's going to get pushed up eventually, kind of seeing people live longer?
It already has. For example, for people my age, the Social Security retirement age is now 66 or 67, I'm not sure which. And so it's been gradually moving up for people over the past couple of decades. And that was largely due to problems in the Social Security Trust Fund running out of money, but it was also a recognition that people have the capability and the health care that enable them to work longer.
There's a certain amount of I think, respect many of us may have for somebody who is thrifty, very efficient, and lives, very frugally. And as long as that is true, the definition of what is enough for later in life can become a little bit of a sticky wicket.
Experts like Japhet Els, the Community Outreach and Advocacy Director of AARP Maine, say retirement should follow a three-legged stool model: retirement savings, Social Security, and earned income. It often takes all three to keep a household running, but many people are lacking in at least one area, and our system is out of date.
The system that we've built, like Social Security and Medicare, a 401k or a pension, those systems have not kept pace with inflation and with all the things that are rising in costs.
Bluntly, there's not a lot of help right now coming to older Mainers trying to survive on Social Security. The Maine legislature is looking to help younger Mainers not end up there.
We want to get people in the position where they're saving sort of automatically without having to spend a lot of their precious time and energy thinking about how it's going to happen.
One example is through Senator Eloise Vitelli's Work and Save bill, which was signed into law last session. LD 1622 will establish the Maine Retirement Savings Program, taking a percentage of people's earnings directly from their paycheck and putting it into a Roth IRA. That account will follow people from job to job until they retire. It's designed to be automatic, so you would have to opt out if you don't want to participate.
Studies have shown that people are 15 times more likely to save if it's offered through their employment.
Senator Vitelli says this program will eventually reach businesses of all sizes, even people who are self-employed. The hope is its impact will be far-reaching.
Ultimately, if our older citizens, older folks in Maine have their own savings to add to their Social Security, they'll be less dependent on public resources. So they'll need food stamps less, they'll need housing assistance less.
I think that that's the hardest bridge for many younger people to cross, is to understand what you could possibly be facing when you're 65. And when we talk to folks who are in their 70s or late 60s, the amount of times that they will say, if I could talk to my 21-year-old self, this is what I would say. I would say, save your damn money.
All right, so there may be some hope for Ann Heinig. She's the woman you met at the beginning of that story who's still working to help pay for her husband's insulin. After her interview, she found out Medicare will now cover some of that cost. She says she's not yet sure exactly what that amount will be or if she will be able to retire. And there are some new initiatives happening through the governor's office to help address the cost of retirement, like the state property tax deferral program and the Elder Justice Roadmap. You can read more about that and see some of this story's full interviews on our website and mobile app. And if you have a personal story to share about this issue, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at chloe.tebow@newscentermaine.com. Lee and Sharon?
Such an important topic, and if you're watching this morning and you know somebody who would benefit from seeing that story, maybe isn't awake at this point, send them to the website, let them watch the story, because it really could help a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
job.
Really glad to see there's a multi-pronged approach to this, where helping people who are struggling now and trying to prevent that in the future.
Exactly. It's kind of, we have to look at it from all different angles, and hopefully this will affect some change.
Thank you, Chloe.